Hey, what is going on, everybody? It is Aaron Trevino, and we have a terrific guest from the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. We have the Cowboy Closer. What's going on?
What's going on, brother? Thank you so much for having me, man. Are you kidding me? Thank you.
I've been excited about this. I know we'd been talking back and forth about setting a date for this. I know you're a busy man, so it means a lot that you came on the show.
No, I'm definitely honored and truly humbled that you even want to be on here. Honestly, I'm a little nervous and out of my comfort zone here doing this, for sure. So I'm more of a not kind of front kind of guy, I guess you could say, or full, however you want to say it.
Yeah, no, I totally got you there. Um, no, but you obviously look great, and I like that. I like that background. Could you talk a bit about that wallpaper behind you?
Yeah, so that is some newspaper wallpaper. My wife is a writer; she's a journalist, um, and of course, so that's just her theme, and she put that up. So it looks great. So I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah, absolutely. So for those, where are you living these days?
I actually live in Waxahachie. I'm a country boy, so we live in the country, which is right outside of Dallas, just 35 minutes south of Dallas in a little town, Waxahachie.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've driven through there a little
Yeah.
bit. But yeah, it's great to have you. I know I told you this earlier, but it was funny how we were trying to set a time for this podcast. And then one of my clients, she mentioned, "Hey Aaron, you're having a lot of really experienced people coming on your podcast, you know." And she was preferring to see someone with, a few years of experience in the game. Um, and then right after that we scheduled a time to have you come on the show.
Well, that worked out great, man. And I definitely want to go to the record and say that, I'm not one of the gurus in the industry. Like people say, failing forward. I'm strategically stumbling is what I'm doing. And I've been in it a year and a half now, full time. So it's definitely been a journey and exciting for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to be said for that, because it's easy just to sit back and not do anything, right? And just say, oh, this is too big of a task. But it's kind of, just kind of, you're kind of chipping away at it and failing forward, like you said.
Yeah. So that's it, man. But I know that if I can do this, anybody on this podcast can do it for sure.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, if you could just, I know you said you live down, so that would be Southern Dallas, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. I know you said you live out there. You're a country boy. Could you kind of give us a bit of a background on you and how you got into real estate?
So I am originally from Dallas, born and raised right here in the Metroplex. And funny story, just fast forwarding. I know this is skipping a lot of years, but I was a truck driver before I got into real estate. So I hated it. I really did. I absolutely hated truck driving. I'm married. We have two daughters, and I did truck driving for 7 years. And you spending that much time over the road, away from home, I'm like, I gotta make a change. I really do. Um, but during that time on the road, I actually heard a podcast about wholesaling. On the Breakfast Club. They had a guest over there or on their show, and I think he was from New York or somewhere. I don't remember where he was from or his name, but he was talking about wholesaling real estate is how he, built his portfolio and made all his money. I was like, man, that sounds interesting. What is wholesaling real estate? And so I kind of started just YouTube University, um, looking at wholesaling, Googling everything I could about it. And just for 6 months, I didn't get any action, like nothing at all. And finally, I went to a real estate event, and then I got my first coach um, here in the Metroplex. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say his name or not, but Kelton Todd. So he kind of he was one of my first coaches and mentors, and I was able to get connected with him, and it just kind of took off from there.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It sounds like a lot was kind of happening in your mind. So you kind of shifted from the daily grind for 7 years to where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I've always kind of had like that entrepreneurial kind of hustle, like even growing up. So I used to be the candy man, like at school. Like there used to be these packs of bubble gum, like Bubblicious or something like that, that I would get, and it would come like four in a pack from the store, and I would sell them as a kid, like 50 cents a pack, and they were only $1 at the store. But just all throughout, just elementary and middle school, I would sell candy and cut yards, and I always kind of just envision like myself just being like a business owner, or having all these different businesses kind of going on. So it's always been in me. uh, I hate that I'm just now kind of actually starting it this late, but hey, better late than never.
That's right. It kind of seems like it came full circle for you, You grew up with that entrepreneurial mindset, even with those years of truck driving. I mean, it sounds like it was, it's in you.
Yeah, for sure. And it helped me because even as a truck driver, I was an owner operator, and it's a little different. So, or at least the last, I guess, three years were as an owner operator. So, owning your own trucking company and hustling, just kind of gives you a different perspective, because you're going out there, you're going to these businesses and basically selling yourself to haul their freight for them. So that really kind of sparked the interest there.
Yeah, absolutely. Could you kind of elaborate more on what owner operator would mean?
So yeah, as a truck driver, it's where you're your own trucking company. Instead of working for a big company like, you know, Old Dominion Freight, in which I was, or any other company, I just went and bought my own truck and trailer. And then I honestly went to all these different companies, like Home Depot. I used to haul for them at their distribution center and say, hey, let me haul your freight for you. I can haul it for you at this price, blah, blah, blah. Different oil companies that I would haul for. So it's a business, but more like a solopreneur. I didn't actually have like a full blown, company to where I had, multiple drivers.
Sure, but it kind of seems like that mindset that you had is serving you well right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely gave me that hustle, because, for example, there was one oil company that I was just dead set on hauling for. And I emailed the corporate company, the guy that was over the logistics, like every week for, I mean, months, trying to haul for this company. And he never replied. And finally, I just said, I'm going up there to his office. And I did. And he was able to sit with me. And I built a phenomenal relationship with that company. I was one of their top carriers to haul their freight for. So it definitely gave me that, what do you call it? Just that hustle, or that drive to stay consistent with it, that you need in real estate, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm just curious also, I know you mentioned how, you were truck driving and you'd listen to that guy talk about real estate wholesaling. You didn't have any idea what it was. Prior to that, did you have real estate on your mind, or what was it that kind of caused you to make that transition like that?
Now, I've always liked real estate, never knew anything about it. A long time ago, when I was like 18 or 19, I'm 34 now, but I bought one of those real estate courses from one of the, the shows or infomercials or whatever. Never did anything with it. I honestly don't even think I played any of the cassettes or anything at the time. But I've always been interested in real estate. I always have.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Was there, why do you think some people may, they may buy those courses, they may buy those cassettes, they may have the information, but why do you think that some people don't do anything with that?
They just don't take the action, or well, obviously they don't take the action, but maybe they overthink it, a lot of the times, or they don't want to get uncomfortable. And let's be honest, growth is uncomfortable. It's nerve-wracking even for me, on some of these on this podcast here. You get nervous, you don't want to say anything wrong. So people avoid that, or they don't want to look, foolish or dumb or anything like that. So I think it's more just just fear of failure, or self-doubt, not believing in themselves more than anything that holds them back.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like during this period of time, you've kind of had a big shift in your mindset.
Yeah, I definitely had to have one, by realizing that it's going to take more action than I thought it was going to take. um, but just realizing that, if I fail at something, that doesn't make me a failure. I just actually found another way that doesn't work. That's all. So,
Yeah.
so I'll try it a different way, and I'm truly okay with it. And I'm okay with for like the trucking company, with the oil company. I was okay with emailing that guy every week. Like a lot of people aren't okay with that. And so I just had to have that mindset that no matter what, I got to make it work. So I had to have that mindset shift, with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it sounds like, from you that's more of it's a persistence game. You were persistent and you ended up, working, you had a good relationship with that guy that that you nurtured, and you guys are both pretty happy with the business that you did.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So, sorry, go ahead.
No, no, yeah. And relationships and is a big key in this as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I'm just curious. I know you talked about truck driving, you hearing about the wholesaling and the when you were truck driving as well to where you are now. What was your first deal?
Uh it's really kind of funny. So my first deals were actually two deals. So it's and the reason I'll explain why I say that. So I got one deal out in Arlington, which was a sub two deal. And that was actually my first deal that closed and got me paid. But it was technically my second deal, but I call it my first technically paycheck. But I had a property in East Texas. I think it was in Quitman, and it was a duplex. I have no idea how this guy got my number. And he's like, "Hey, I heard you buy houses." And I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." So we ended up coming to an agreement, but I couldn't get the property wholesale. We were under contract. It was in the middle of nowhere. I couldn't find a buyer. So I linked up in JV with some other investors here in the Metroplex. And it turns out that it was one of my wife's cousins. Uh, it was his wife that was the other investor that I JV with, after just, talking and you know, getting to know each other. But I had completely gave up on that deal. Like, we couldn't find a buyer. The other investor actually went and renegotiated my contract. Like, I just thought it was a dead deal, and I had moved on. And then finally she calls me. She's like, "Yeah, we got that deal closed." and gave me, a check. I think it was like 4 grand or something like that. But I was like, I completely just gave up on it. So that technically was my first deal, but it was the second one that closed for me. But it was exciting.
That's awesome. What a small world that it was someone that, that you knew.
Yeah, absolutely it was. So that was hilarious. We got a kick out of that.
Did you ever find out how this guy even got your number? Because it came out of the blue.
I really don't. And I didn't even, at the time, I didn't even think to ask, or I didn't want to ask. Like, I don't know. I was just nervous to ask, like, hey, how did you get my number? But I was putting out bandit signs like crazy. I know I didn't put none out in East Texas, but so hey, I wasn't complaining though. He called me.
How about that? How about that? I know you mentioned, I mean, you used the word wholesale. Can you kind of explain what wholesaling is?
So wholesaling is basically, I find distressed property owners and I get that property under contract at a set price. I'll find another investor that will either, purchase it to fix and flip it. They may, they'll do whatever they want to do with it. But I will assign that contract or my rights over to that end buyer, and they pay me an assignment fee. And that assignment fee can be, you know, anything from 1,000 all the way. I've seen some up to like 6 figures. I've seen some people on assignment fees. And
Wow.
basically, I don't make, I don't have to bring any of my own money to closing on the property.
Sure. So it seems like wholesaling is just a matter of you being able to find those deals.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about, generating leads and finding deals and distressed property owners. The way I like to describe it is you finding people who need to sell that not that don't just want to sell. Like there's a difference if you just want to sell your house, but if you need to sell, like you're going through divorce, it's a property you've inherited that you can't take care of, your foreclosure, just all those different things. So you're definitely looking for people who have some type of motivation or a problem to solve.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And you also mentioned, JVing a deal. Could you kind of explain what JVing is?
So JVN is where you'll joint venture with another investor, maybe somebody that's more seasoned, that maybe they found the deal and you're going to bring them the buyer or vice versa, but y'all can work out, any kind of agreement on, the percentage for that assignment fee, but you just partner on the deal. So if you brought me a deal and say, hey, Clifford, I got this deal, let's JV on it, but I can't find a buyer, I'll say, okay, I'll bring you a buyer and we'll split it, 50-50, whatever we make on it. So it's really common and a lot of new people, especially JV. Actually, I still do a lot of JVing for sure too.
Absolutely. So what it seems like, the benefit of JVing is, maybe you're starting out, just kind of being able to connect all the dots, or what's the big benefit of JVing on a deal?
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely connecting all the dots. You learn more about the process um, that, going into it, you might not know, especially starting out, and just building relationships. Again, this is all about relationship building. I believe real estate is.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So we kind of talked a bit about what wholesaling was, your first, technically first deal, right? But
Yeah.
so what do you? That's a funny story. What other deals have you done, since then?
So I've had several deals. Actually, when I got my first coach, that first month alone, I got 6 deals. I got 6 properties under contract when I got linked up with coaching. I'm a firm believer now in coaching. So for anybody listening, if there's, I don't care what industry it is, even in trucking, it made me realize that, man, I should have had a coach when I started my trucking company. Uh, just whatever it is. Definitely get a coach if you can. But I've gotten 6 that first month and just skyrocketed from there. I hadn't looked back, and just now that I'm a year, I guess a year and a half in, now I'm trying to actually build a business and not have just another one man show. So I got a couple full-time cold callers that call for me now. I have a partner that I work with on my acquisitions. Uh, so just trying to build a team out now.
Okay. It kind of seems, again, you're having another change in the mind shift, right? In the mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I realized from reading, I'm sure everybody on your podcast has read The Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I think everybody has. You think about those quadrants, from a solopreneur to a businessman. So I'm just trying to cross that bridge and start to lay that foundation so where I can go from, that solopreneur where I'm doing all the day to day and, I can pass those on.
Yeah, that definitely is important because, there's only so much time in the day, so much energy you can put into something. So it always helps having a good team around you.
Yeah. And then I'm learning too that I'm actually not a good hirer. Is that the right word to say
Higher,
it? Yeah, like I'm just not good with interviewing people, and I'm not good with questions. And so like my very first interview that I did, it was horrible. It was hilarious. Like I'm just like, so what are you what are
yeah.
you interested in doing this job? But it was hilarious. So my wife actually had to do the next interview. I just bombed
Yeah.
it. So even if you're not good at something, outsource that if you need to.
Yep. There's a lot to be said for, outsourcing what, you got to know where your strengths lie, right?
Right, for sure.
So I guess in terms of, before you were talking about you not wanting to be the one man show, you're trying to, start your own business here. What were the other, you said acquisitions, and then what were the other positions?
Cold callers, yeah. People categorize them as employees. I do. Other people just look at them as marketing. I say if they're feeding their family and they're getting paid every week, they're an employee. They're not a marketing expense. But yeah, that's what they are to me.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think the biggest challenges are for you, aside from the hiring, maybe the biggest challenges from being that solopreneur to, you coming out and growing your own team?
Realizing that just learning leadership, now I have to, be a leader, step up to the plate. That's something that I've never managed people before. It's just a different ball game, and learning, how to do that effectively and good. So that's definitely a challenge. And then realizing that I'm not good with, some of the simpler tasks like hiring or even training, because I'm more of a ready, shoot, aim kind of person. Like I just go out there and start having a conversation with the homeowner. Like I don't need to know all the little details about how I'm going to move the property or who's going to buy it. I just go out there and do it. And I expect my team members to do the same. And that's completely not the case. Like they want to know everything. Like they want to know what they should say if the homeowner says this. Well, I'm like, I don't know, just answer their question. I don't know. So even hiring somebody to train was something that I had to do.
Sure. Yeah, I can definitely see how that can be, I mean, that's a challenge too.
Yeah. So it's just new challenges and new struggles. That's that's good, that's getting me out of my comfort zone and helping me to learn and grow just as a person, as an individual too, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like that that analogy you gave about what was it? Ready, shoot, aim.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I think there's a lot to be said about. I mean, sometimes you just have to go out and do it. There's a line of how much reading and videos you can do before you go take action, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't know I wasn't good at those things. Like, I never thought about it. I've never said, hey, am I good at hiring people? Am I good at training people? I think I am, or I thought I was, until I actually had to do it. And I was like, no, this isn't gonna work for me. So I realized that now I'm more of a visionary, and I need like that integrator to come in and put all the pieces together in systems. Like the first year, I was notepads, and I mean, I still have sticky notes on my desk. That's how it was. There was completely no systems in place uh, for the first year.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's I'm definitely guilty of that as well. A lot of times I'll be emailing, I'll be calling, I scribble a little note in my notebook, and then before I know it, the whole page is full and I need to kind of, it's just habits, I guess, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then me being a country boy, like the whole, oh my God, it took me so long to learn Excel. I'm telling you, this whole experience for me has just been a learning curve. Uh, just learning Excel, learning how to, you know, do all that stuff. It was completely new. This is completely new to me. Real estate was. So it's been a journey, and I've learned to just love it and enjoy it. Like, I even ask myself every day I got on my board, what did you learn about real estate today? Or just to make sure that I'm just learning something new, man, and just enjoying the journey.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but since you mentioned it, do you remember what you learned today about real estate?
You know what? Actually, bringing up, no, I haven't. I hadn't Googled anything new. I like to at least Google something, but I will by the end of the night when I get off this call. But what I do, I need to, now that we're talking about it, I'm like, man, I hadn't Googled anything today.
Yeah, no, I definitely like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know you talked a bit about wholesaling, you with trucking, kind of different adjustments you've made to, going from solopreneur to, to um, branching out and building your business. What are you doing right now? What sorts of deals are you doing now?
So I mainly focus on wholesaling. I have done four flips. I did do four flips my first year. Um, and a partner of mine, we've even done owner financing wrap, which is one of the niches that we want to get into. I love that strategy, and it's something that I want, honestly, a hundred of them. So, but the main focus in what I'm doing is trying to generate those leads, trying to focus on the wholesaling, because when I have that down to a T, I mean, there'll always be adjustments, but I basically just have a conveyor belt of leads coming in, and then I can cherry pick. You know what? I'm going to keep this one for a rental. I'm going to keep this one for a flip just because of the spread, or you know, it doesn't need nothing but paint, carpet, and flooring, and that's what our flips were. They were just, what people call hotel deals, where you're just going in there basically cleaning them up and then putting them on the MLS. The biggest thing that I did on one of them was I replaced countertops, but just keeping it simple. So our main focus though is wholesaling, to answer the question.
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you talked a bit about wholesaling. Could you kind of describe what subject to is?
I'm not an expert on that, so I want to tread lightly on that one, but it's basically just taking over the property um, with the existing mortgage in place. So you're just purchasing the property and you're not paying over the mortgage. You're not paying off the mortgage, I should say. I'm sorry.
Okay. So what do you think, why is that appealing to a lot of investors doing those subject to deals?
Because there's no limit on how many you can get. If you go and pick up some rental properties, I think the max you can get right now is only 10 in your name. So if you go and take over subject twos, then I mean, you can get as many as you want.
Yeah, absolutely. And you also mentioned, you said it was a wrap note, right?
Yeah, and so I'll take it over sub two, and then I'll do an owner financing wrap. So I'll put bandit signs out everywhere. I'll market the property, owner financing, and I'll actually sell it to somebody. The house, I technically don't own the house anymore. The house gets deeded over to them. I just own the note, or control the note, and
Okay.
they'll pay me every month.
So is that what the wrap would mean, or what does wrap mean in this
Yeah,
context?
so I'll take the one. If I took over a property sub two and the mortgage on that is $100,000 and they're paying, 4% interest, I would charge, if I own a financing, I would charge them probably 120 for the house or 130, and then they would pay upwards of, 8 or 9% interest. So I'll make that spread on it.
Absolutely. I think it's interesting. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and she invests in Houston. They have a rental portfolio, and her and her husband they do flips. And she was saying how with some of these deals, they're finding that owner financing would probably be the better way to go as opposed to doing these flips.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think so. I mean, you can get some phenomenal spreads that are a lot better too than traditional rentals as well, you know. And I haven't done it, but I hear of another investor that does owner financing flips. Like instead of buying the property out cash, he'll work terms out with the seller and say, "Hey, will you take terms, owner finance it to me? Once I flip it, then I'll pay you." So that's less money that he's bringing to the closing, or he's pretty much just paying, whatever they agree upon, and then the rehab and selling it. So that's great when you can work those terms out.
Okay, so could you kind of run it back with the owner financing? So you're saying that you as an investor, you talk to the seller, and what are you, for the first time when you speak to them, what are you kind of, what are you proposing to them?
So it would just depend on the circumstances, but if there's no dire need or whatever the case may be, I can say, hey, instead of me giving you, 50,000 for this house cash, will you take terms? I'll give you, 5K down, and then owner finance it to me for, you know, 500 a month or whatever the case may be, and I'll pay you once I sell the house. So you can work it like that. If I'm explaining, am I making sense? Am I
Yeah,
explaining that?
yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
I'm just curious, was this something that you kind of did your homework and found out yourself, or was this from your coach that you had?
Oh, this is definitely from my coach. Yeah, I didn't start learning all this stuff until coaching comes. And if you get into those again, because I'm not the expert with those, definitely seek coaching when you're getting into that creative stuff for sure.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It definitely, you know, there's a lot to be said for having, a mentor, a coach, someone who's done it before, going in front of you and showing you how it's done.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you don't want to get in trouble, and you definitely want to make sure you're doing it right and you're learning from other people's mistakes that they've made.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
For
Great. So
sure.
yeah, I know you'd mentioned kind of how you started, what you're currently doing now. What are you looking to do in the future? Ideally, what sorts of deals are you on the hunt for? And big picture, what are you looking to do?
Big picture, man, I'm actually wanting to get into commercial development, some type of new construction. My wife and I, before I even started real estate investing, we loved new construction. We would literally go to like new house communities and walk through like their model homes and some of the ones that were under construction. I just love the fact of new builds. Um, to me, in my opinion, I haven't done one yet, but it just seems easier, because you're working with a blank slate. You're not getting caught by surprises, that I hear a lot of horror stories from more of the seasoned investors have dealt with. So I really love the thought of new construction, especially new development. I also have a nonprofit, Cowboys for the Community. So
All right.
want to do some type of housing for social goods or just multi-use uh, development. I don't know, something there, but it'll be something along those lines in the long term. But in the near future, definitely within the next 1 to 2 years, for sure.
All right. Absolutely. So, could you kind of explain a bit more about your nonprofit?
Yeah, so we started a nonprofit officially I think about 4 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago, Cowboys for the Community, and we got approval for our 501 C3, so we are tax exempt with the IRS. So if anybody needs tax write-offs, but right now, every third Saturday, we partner with another organization. Um, and we go out and we feed the homeless, and or I say homeless, but really the community. Anybody that wants a meal, I don't care who you are, whether you're homeless or not. If you're hungry and we're out there cooking and grilling, come eat. So, but that's what we do right now in Dallas, over by kind of Fair Park area, downtown Dallas. So every week. I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing, but we run out of food, so we feed hundreds of people and just looking to keep scaling and growing that and hopefully become global at some point, is our long-term goal there for sure.
Absolutely. So you would say that you're kind of leaning towards more affordable housing. You said more for the social good, right?
Yeah. Just different stuff like that on the real estate side. One thing on the nonprofit is I want to do some type of kind of ranching program or something to teach minorities just how to ranch, how to farm. I truly believe that's a dying art. I think in 2017, um, the ag reported that only like 1.3% of farms and ranches were owned by minorities. That's ridiculously low. And I think there's, oh man, I want to say upwards of like 90,000 something ranches here in the US. So you're talking about only 1% of that is minority owned. So at some point, I want to roll out how to, of course, farm and ranch and get your own land, and be self sustainable. It's just something that I believe in and I love.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely as a South Texan, there's King Ranch is close by.
I
Um,
love it. Yeah,
yeah,
it's the largest ranch in Texas.
that's right. It's the size of Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely know what you're talking about with the ranching. I mean, it's a big part of our culture down here in Texas. And it's great to see people carrying it on, because it's one thing to go to driving your truck to HEB and go get food. But, when you know how much effort it takes to, prepare the soil, put the seeds in and be able to see everything come to fruition, it makes you appreciate it more.
No, absolutely, man. It gives you a whole new level of appreciation for your food, the work, the energy, just the process. Um, and then too, like you said, it's a part of our culture. We've spent years and years and years working on these ranches, but we don't own them. So I think that ownership is important. I think there's a lot of just generational wealth that can be built through ranching and farms.
Yeah, absolutely. You also touched a bit on kind of being self-sustaining. When buying ranch land, farmland. Could you kind of elaborate a bit more on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think now with the whole Corona stuff, like how important would it be now if you didn't have to worry about going to the store when there was a shortage on food? I know the HEB out here, like when it first hit, like you couldn't hardly get anything. I'm telling you, it was scary. But imagine having your own cattle, your own vegetables, your own fruits. Kind of going back to how it used to be in the old days, to where, hey, I got some cattle, you got some vegetables, I'll give you,
Yeah.
type of deal. But just being able to know that, okay, no matter what happens with the grocery stores, I know that my family's good. We're still going to eat and survive. You know,
Yeah.
that's what I mean by being, sustainable.
Yeah, absolutely. My grandparents talk a lot about, that kind of stuff, being self-sustaining. I remember them talking about, tending to the cattle. They would pick watermelons, they had peach trees, they would plant corn, all those different things, right?
Yeah. So it's awesome, and it's fun when you love doing it. I actually don't like a lot of the farming side. I prefer messing with the animals, the cattle. Uh, so that's fun to me, and it's really relaxing. Um, so if you find some part of it uh, agriculturally that you like, it can definitely be fun for you for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I found was neat that one of my friends here in Austin, actually, his girlfriend is she's really into kind of like the agricultural, I guess, aspect of real estate. And it was neat because she bought some land outside of Austin, but she got an ag exemption for putting bees on her property, like raising bees.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny you mentioned bees.
What is it?
My wife and I have been having a very interesting conversation because I want honeybees. But my wife does not like bees. She doesn't want them anywhere around. Uh, but no, absolutely you can.
Wow.
And here in Ellis County, you can get an ag exemption on only 5 acres of land if you have honeybees. So you
Yeah, absolutely.
definitely do it. And I mean, you're literally, those are fairly low maintenance as well.
Sure. I mean, especially, it's crazy. I don't know if you walk in like the peanut butter and jelly, the honey aisle at HEB, but there's honey everywhere right there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So I love that. And that's what the nonprofit I would love for it to eventually go to. Um, I know there's even a few other organizations here in Dallas that they'll have, maybe like they'll take a community lot and they'll turn it into a garden for people to come and grow vegetables with, or so just doing something like that. I'm really excited about it. My heart is with serving. It's what I love doing. I truly enjoy it. So I'm just leveraging real estate so that I can focus on my nonprofit.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's neat that we're kind of having this little transition where people are kind of realizing, being self-sustaining, having that ranch land, that farmland, finding bad properties, finding, good land that maybe could be used in an alternative way. I think what you're talking about, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm excited to see where this goes over the next few years. Um, I'm really excited about it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Cowboy Closer, is there anything you haven't said that you just like to really hammer home?
Um, no, if anybody's listening and they're new to real estate or they're trying to get in it, um, definitely you can. It's doable. It works if you work. Like I think people need to realize that um, that just like Grant Cardone say, 10x. You know the amount of action that you think you're going to need, um, and do it. It works, and you can make it happen. So um, definitely do that. Seek. Our light went out. I had my little Zoom light. It went out.
Ah, yeah. No worries. No worries.
Well, good thing we're wrapping up though.
Yeah.
But no, just connect with the people that you what's the word I'm trying to say, that are doing what you want to do. You know, get outside of your comfort zone. Try to find people who are in the industry, but don't just try to see what you can get out of them. Truly try to bring value to them. That was one thing. I have multiple mentors now. Um, and with each of my mentors, I've made money with them. I brought value to them. We've closed deals together. So figure out how you can bring value to them. And it definitely helps the relationship for sure.
Absolutely. Well said. Maybe someone's watching, they want to get a hold of you. They may have a deal. They want a JV on something, or maybe they just want to chat because they're also, in the DFW's area as well. How can we find you?
I'm definitely on Facebook and Instagram, Clifford the Cowboy Closer. You can reach me. I'm always open to JVing with people on deals. I actually help a lot of newbies find buyers for their deals. So if you're struggling moving deals, I've built out the buyers list, and it's easier for me to get them moved now. So if you're just looking to partner or just want to connect, definitely reach out to me. I'll help any way that I can for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to, I'll put your nonprofit, your Facebook, in the description. And, yeah, Cowboy Closer. I'm so happy we did this. It's been great seeing you, great having you on the show. I learned a heck of a lot, not only about you, but, a bit about trucking, a bit about your journey to this point, real estate investing, ag exemptions. Man, we covered a lot of ground.
No, that's awesome, man. Again, thank you. I'm extremely humble for you to have me on here. You have no idea. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I really appreciate you coming on. And we'll talk to you soon until the next podcast.
All right, brother. Take care.
Thanks a lot.